wherever you are. And yes, housekeeping matters. We will be recording this meeting as some of our invitees have asked for recording as they're unable to attend today. We will also be using the pitches that are made today as a form of reference in order to prepare our finalists for the grand final, which will be held in Hong Kong on the 2nd of December. So again, can I just ask that if you're not speaking to please put yourself on mute in order to minimize interference and also to ensure that the founder is able to present his or her pitch without interruption. Questions and format. So each pitch will be 5 minutes, and we will then allocate a further 5 minutes for Q&A. Given that this is a pretty intimate group, I suggest we do it by the hand raising function in Zoom. I will monitor it and alert Chris when someone has raised a hand. Of course, please feel free to also type in your question in the chat function, and we'll be monitoring the chat function to ask those questions. There is a 10-minute buffer at the end in case some of the Q&A sessions overrun. But I do ask that if you're asking a question, you do keep it concise, and for the founders that you keep your answers concise as well, as we're running on a pretty tight timeline. So those are housekeeping matters. Again, in terms of introductions, welcome everyone. My name is Su Yin, and I am a co-founder of the Captain's Table Pitch Challenge, a pitch challenge targeted at the maritime industry and held out of Hong Kong. Tabitha, who just joined us, and I co-founded the challenge 3 years ago with very, very strong support and assistance from Chris O'Callaghan of HFW Consulting, who is helping to run our bootcamp. Now, I know you're not here to see me today, so without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Chris, who will introduce our startups, and we will kickstart today's investor showcase. Chris, over to you.
Thanks, Ian. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Lovely to see you all. We're going to get straight on, if that's all right, because we're already slightly against the clock, and although we have a buffer, equally it's a Friday, and I know everybody will have hard stops. So. Without further ado, we've got a running order today. When you're, I suppose, let me just add a further out bit of housekeeping for the founders. If you're not in the hot seat, so to speak, if I can just ask you also to turn your cameras off, it will help with bandwidth for others as well. So let me find my running order. Yang Yang, you have the delight of going first, so I'm going to hand over to you, Yang Yang from Bingo Robot.
Okay, thank you. I'll give you 1 second to have the screen. Yes.
Yeah, and let me know when you're ready, and I will start that timer for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Perfect. Thank you. Good luck.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, then I'll start. Hello, everyone. This is Yan from Bingo Robot. I'm honored to be the first to start the showcase today. The solution I bring today is cargo hold robot system. Cargo hold cleaning is a necessary procedure when loading different cargos. The traditional method is labor-intensive and involves dangerous work at hands. The crew members clean the hose manually with scrubbing equipment and brushes. For the high areas, which are not easy for them to comb, they have to be suspended on harnesses from the head combing. It is time-consuming, low efficient, and bringing possibilities of cargo hold cleanliness dispute and posing a risk to crew safety. An efficient and a reliable solution for cleaning and maintaining cargo hold is badly needed. So, working together with the innovation team from CMES Shipping, we developed our solution, Cargo Hold Clean Robot System. Based on their innovation culture, through their profound understanding of the shipping industry and on-site operation experience guidance, CMES Shipping assisted us to apply our leading crawler robotics technologies and engineering experiences to develop the system. You can see the robot and the high pressure system and the control system. So equipped with high pressure system, the robot could climb at various angles in the cargo hold, which ensures an efficient and thorough cleaning. The system is easy to connect and designed with very friendly interface, which enables the user to control the robot and the water flow from the tap top. It could be easily operated by the crew with very short time training. And the camera will could transmit real-time data. So not only crew could have a closer view of hold surface cleaning condition, but also this data can be downloaded and shared with other parties concerned. For example, cargo hold cleanliness inspectors could have a check before the vessel arrives, or even don't have to go on board when this inspection is limited during the pandemic. So this data could also be kept as evidence for later possible dispute, if any. Thus, compared to the traditional methods of cleaning, the robot system will provide a faster cleaning, which will save time. The cleaning could be done at any time. It will take 4 to 8 hours to clean a hold, depending on the size, conditions, and the cargo's hold. When transporting dirty commodities, such as coal, time saving will be more obvious, and the cleaning time will be reduced by up to 50%. As we all know that saving time is valuable to the shipping companies, especially in the busiest dry cargo hub in the world, where vessels are coming up to load commodities for the world's largest industries such as food and energy. And it will improve safety. Safety of crew has always been a #1 concern for ship owners, operators, and managers. And the risk to crew members being injured is greatly reduced. And then while watching the video of how it works, and I can tell the other advantages of the robot system. It will also bring a better cleaning quality and bring positive environmental impact. There is a very short video to see how it climbs, and you can see the nozzles, and you can see how it cleans. Yes, okay. There's altogether 7 nozzles, and with the arm, and the arm is 3-degree freedom mechanical arms. Okay, so to talk about the market opportunities, we'll say that it's a very blue and very huge market with very few competitors. The estimated revenue will be more than $60 million. And after sharing the story about our robot system, we would like to share some information about who we are. Bingo Robot is a company specializing in making robots for the industries involving labor-intensive and dangerous work at haze or under other conditions that are not suitable for mankind to work. We are aiming to optimize those traditional processes in terms of time, cost, and safety, and to improve both of HSE and profitability of our customers. And based on our multifunctional model robot technology, the robot can do different kinds of jobs. The crawler is just a kind of vehicle. What kind of a robot it will be depends on what kind of tool it will carry. For example, it can clean, paint, polish, remove rust, remove marine organisms, detect, and etc. We have many successful cases in CNBC, Unilever, China Datang, CSIC Dalian, and Sinochem. Okay, so the magic team and Professor Minglu Zhang and I are the founders of the company. And Professor Zhang is a very renowned robotics scientist in China. He has been the team leaders of many national R&D projects, such as the famous 863 program. And Yan Yuan, who is in charge of the daily operations and market. Okay, thank you for your listening and thank you for your watching.
Yeah, Yan, thank you very much. Okay, we've now got 5 minutes of questions, and then if you stop sharing your screen and then we can see you, that'd be great.
Okay,
and then
I'll stop. Yeah, I'll stop the.
open up the floor to 5 minutes of questions.
Okay. Let's see how to. Yes.
Brilliant, well done. What questions do we have?
Excuse me, Ms. Yuan, I have a question.
Thank you. Yes.
Regarding your cleaning, so does your machine or robot can use all kinds of chemicals, or they have to use specific type of chemicals approved by you? Because I know some chemicals can be damaging, like the surface of, I don't know, metal or whatever. So is it friendly to all kinds of chemicals?
Yes, it is friendly to all kinds of chemicals. Yes.
Okay, even acid basis, even acid diluted diluted acid can be used in this machine.
Yes, because when we design the system, and it is designed to anti-corrosion and anti-erosion.
So you would recommend, like, kind of ideal for you is to make the ship be equipped with this kind of cleaning tools on board, or like you, for example, if the ship going to China and you have a base in China, so we can rent the cleaning kit, and then after using, you return it to your base in China. I don't know how it normally works.
Oh, we can sell to the ship companies, and they can. It is easy to carry, and the high pressure system could be installed on board. So you can buy it and you can use it during your voyage, during when you transfer from one port to another. And of course, you can you can rent. Yeah, if you come to China and you can rent. And we would like to find out more operators in other countries that maybe can rent our system in different places.
If we want to buy, for example, a Supermax with 5 holes and a cleaning coal, for example, how many set I need to buy, or would you recommend one ship to buy to carrying an efficient, do efficient cleaning, I would say?
It depends on the size and depends on the commodities. And we will recommend 3 to 4 will be better, but 1 is okay. Yes, because it can, the robot can do the job at any time. So 1 is okay, but if you want to have more faster, if you want to have faster cleaning and the saving time is more important to you, maybe 3 to 4 will be better. Yes.
Okay, 1 kit is roughly how much do you charge? For example, if delivered in Singapore.
Yes.
1 kit, how much would you charge?
You mean if I
1
will
full
rent?
kit? No, buy.
Oh, to buy. Yes. 1 full kit. Yes. I need to calculate
Okay.
the shipping fee. Yes. The robot system is only about $10,000 US. Yes, for the product. Yeah, for the whole system. But I need to calculate the shipping fee and the transportation, and to calculate the offshore service, and all this kind of services charge.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Lane,
thank you.
Yeah, and there's 1 question, 2 questions actually.
Yeah.
So the first one is from CP. How many of such robots have been sold already? How did the 120,000 price come about? Cost of production, and how scalable is the business?
To tell the truth, we haven't started our selling. Yes, just now I said, yeah, 50% or something, because we have conducted many times field trial. Yes, and we have some partners, and we have the system, yeah, conducted the cleaning. So it's a kind of field trial. So the 50% or 4 to 8 hours were calculated through those on-site trials.
Okay, and how did the price of 120,000 come about?
Actually, we would like to have a very competitive price. Yes, you know, there are very few competitors in this market, and there is, as we know that there's one product from Denmark, and their prices is more than 10,000 US dollars, and so according to our cost and according to the market in China, and so we just try to sell at first at 10,000 at first. Yes.
You mean, sorry, just to clarify, you mean 100,000 or 10,000? 1万还是10万?
Oh, I'm sorry, I make a mistake. 10万, yeah, 100,000. Yes, sorry for everybody. Yes, 100,000, yes. Yes, you know, because I'm not a native speaker, so especially during these numbers, yes, 1,000 is okay, but more than 1,000, yeah, million is okay, but more than millions, yes.
We have time for maybe one last question, and just so everyone knows, we will take note of the questions and seek to respond to the questions if we don't manage to answer it in person during the Q&A. I think the next question we'll do is presuming this is from Kunal. Presuming the robot works on battery, what is the charging period?
I beg your pardon? Yeah.
Presuming, does the robot work on battery? If yes, what is the charging period?
Oh, they can use the charge, just the electricity on ship. Yeah, it is just designed for ship. So any electricity, any charges on ship will be okay. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Yan. I see we have, I know CP, Kunal, and Gautam. We don't have time to answer your questions, but we will seek to send you a written response to your questions. Chris, over to you.
Thanks, Ian, and thanks, Yang Yan, for going and kicking us off and going first. Okay, let me move forward. I would like to invite our next finalist to the table. Krusty, over to you, please.
Yes, Chris, sorry about the delay. Slight problem over here. I'm trying to find the actual presentation that I had prepared.
That's okay.
It was right here. Yeah, it is right here.
I think we need to mute Yan.
That's all right, I have done. Yeah.
Okay, and now it's a matter of sharing. Just bear with me for one more second. Okay, perfect. So I don't know if you see the Zoom bar over there or not. I hope not.
Let me just double check. No, it looks like all we can see is your screen. So as and when you're ready.
Okay, perfect. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Krasi Fotev. I'm co-founder of 13 Mari, and this is where it all began for 13 Mari, the Lac Bay, the Caribbean. My education is in physics with a PhD candidacy in meteorology, and this helped me notice structures on the floor. And later the research revealed the evolution and extreme resistance. And from very high level physics principle of least action perspective, they signify, especially the persistence, fluid flow benefits. This was enough to recruit Nate to end up a partner as the principal researcher. And technically things fell right into place at the beginning. What you see over here is the first simulation that we've done. It's important to know the faster flow behind the element that induces the turbulence. In this particular regime, 3 million Reynolds number, we notice about 10% faster flow, which accounts for 20% less fluid drag. And if fossil fuel was used, we have carbon emission and cost reduction. Then something interesting happened from this September. We got strong theoretical support just now. However, the product was gradually built in 2-year collaboration with the Bulgarian Ship Hydrodynamic Center in Varna. ultimately finding its place on the vessel hull. As you can see, the element we retrofit the vessel is a small one. And this comes with the benefit of quick installation done during the dry dock maintenance without increasing the time the vessel spends in the dry dock. Placing 20 to 30 elements reduces the drag, saving 3 to 5% energy and cost reduction as well. It comes as no surprise that the industry for our product is commercial shipping. It's global, vibrant, and big. The maritime is at a crossroads, though, with the world looking for less petroleum-dependent future, new simple technologies like ours needed, and the industry needs to adjust to the new efficiency realities mandated by the International Maritime Organization and innovate with a relatively thin profit margin. This is what the addressable market looks like for 13 Mari, 6.7 billion with 45 million tons of CO2 emissions curtailed per year. We've identified the most profitable segments. Without going into details, I'll draw your attention to the gross margin of the product. And then we've already spoke about the addressable market and revenue. It's time to define it. It's a very priced product, so it's very low risk for the vessel owner. Our compensation is guided by the 1 year median cost savings in a particular subsegment. Considering the cycle, dry dock voyages, dry dock scheduled maintenance, 3 to 4 years of savings are flowing directly to the owner or the operator of the vessel. This means that in the 250, 300 bucket, while our revenue is 450,000, the owner for the duration of the cycle will be realizing 1.3, 1.7, 1.8 million dollars in savings. Then how do we sell? Directly to the big vessel owners, but when it comes to vessels smaller than 250 meters, we rely on the dry docks. The number of dry docks is much smaller than the number of owners in this range, and they see benefit working with us. However, there is a gap that needs to be filled. The technology readiness level of the product needs to be elevated to confirmed readiness of 9. So we need funds to conduct all channel tests that are needed to get there, and then another funding in order to begin scaling the business. This is the management team. With Ilse, we got experience in maritime. I'm the technical person behind it, and I was fortunate enough to work with Ilse for the last 2 years, and pretty amazing advisory report as well. When it comes to the competition, the most important thing is that our product could be used side by side with any of the competitive products. It's a complicated slide. We could get to that in the Q&A. And finally, we devised a simple, inexpensive, passive, zero operating expense product decoupled from proposer and applicable to any vessel, regardless of the engine and fuel type. Then the product is with value-based pricing, so it's a very low risk. It's a high margin one. Everything fits snugly into the existing distribution product and service chain. The product is ready to be manufactured in February 2022. And with very modest cash infusion, we can get to confirmed technology readiness level of 9 in a matter of 3 to 5 months. Thank you. I'll be glad to take your questions.
Krasi, thank you very much. Excuse me. If you want to stop sharing, let me open to the floor to questions, please.
Hi, this is Gautam here. Thank you for the presentation. Krasi, can you share something on the cost of this, doing this during dry dock, and the cost of the service to the ship owner of putting it on the hull?
Sure. There was a slide on this. If you want, I can share that. The cost was included over there. So overall, for the pretty big vessels, 250, actually 300 meters and above, the cost is somewhere around 100,000 million. The cost for, just bear with me for a second, it was right there. Sorry about that. I just don't like quoting numbers without any support. Yeah, so the cost of installing the element for the 300 plus is 120,000. This is the median cost, and if we're talking about vessels in the 250-300 range, then we're talking about 86,000 installation. Actually, this is the cost of manufacturing and installing. However, the cost to the owner will be again 300 plus 800,000, and 250-300 meter, we're talking about 450,000. However, the savings, again, the savings for the owner, considering the cycle between two dry dock scheduled maintenances, would be somewhere around 1.3 to 1.78 million for the 250-300 meter bucket. And for 300 meter plus, the savings would be approximately 3 million. Actually, more than 3 million, between 3 to 4 million.
Are any of the, how should I say, the percentage savings, is anything going to be guaranteed, like a minimum percentage?
Yes.
You said 3 to 5%, if I'm not mistaken.
Those calculations assume 3.7%. This is something that we've seen in simulations, and this is what the minimum viable product targets. And we are in initial conversations with American Bureau of Shipping in order to obtain a certificate for the savings.
Great, thank you.
Maybe one, actually two questions. Does it work on any hull shape? And if it is that effective, what stops other manufacturers or even in new builds to include that right from the start without your involvement?
Yes, it works on any hull. Ideally, the elements, they need to find its place on the new vessel builds. What's stopping? Well, intellectual property, hopefully. But in addition to that, the theoretical work that was presented in this presentation, it does help us. It does help shift a bit the focus, not so much on the elements, but on the actual optimization procedure. So there will be an additional intellectual property, and we can offer this as a service.
Okay, but at the moment, it's not IP protected.
At the moment, there is patent filing, but this relates to the element shape and to overall placement of the elements on the hull. Nothing specific for particular hull types. There will be consequent patent filings to that.
Actually, there's a couple of questions in the chat. How do you decide how many are put onto a hull, and how do they then attach to the hull?
Yes, we devised the installation protocol, and this is done in collaboration with a company that has 30 years of manufacturing experience in composites. We, in conversations with vessel owners during the customer discovery, the failure mode of the elements was extremely important. Because we don't want to bring the vessel back into the dry dock in case of a failure, right? And we don't want to leave steel exposed to the salt water. So the installation protocol calls for detachment in a middle layer. And with this detachment, there will be a barrier coat left on the hull of the vessel in case detachment occurs. So no immediate remediation will be done, of course. The savings will be affected, and 13 Mari is going to get hit if detachment happens.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you. I think we've got time for one more question. Okay, as previously, if there are any further questions, we're very happy to take those. And Cressy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, let's move on. Let me just de-spotlight. We'll sort that out in a second. Okay. Okay, positive, please.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everyone.
Taking the stage, yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking Charlie's place for this one. Hello everyone, my name is David Fox. I'm representing OK Positive. I will share my screen with you. Can you see the presentation?
We can see this, yeah, slides running through. So, yeah, I mean, it works. It's not in full presentation mode.
Hang on, this might be the wrong screen in that case. 2 seconds, guys. Now we're in full presentation?
We are now in full presentation.
Right, apologies. Okay, is ready to start the clock when you are, Chris?
Yeah, when you're ready.
Okay, hello everybody. I'm representing OK Positive. My name is David Fox. We provide leaders in energy with the weapons to enhance their safety performance through improved mental health. Our leadership team, OK Positive, was born out of the experience of our founder, Charlie Winton, who was working in a high-pressure corporate job whilst trying to deal with his own mental health difficulties brought on by work stress. Panic attacks, presenteeism, and hiding in the company toilets became his normal working routine, sadly. He felt scared and unable to reach out for help to anyone in his workplace, and he believed his only option was to resign. After finally getting the help that he desperately needed, he gained a new purpose in life to help others avoid the nightmare of poor mental health. A chance meeting with myself, David Fox, and my business partner, Colin Anderson, both veterans of the maritime offshore industry, with a combined experience of over 60 years, led to a demonstration of OK Positive, the application and the mobile app, the platform which I'm about to share with you. Knowing that OK Positive was being successfully rolled out to other businesses and other industries, we realized its huge potential to support mental well-being and risk mitigation in our industry, which is why we're here today. So our industry's #1 challenge, I would say, is suicide as being the #1 cause of death, including suspicious cases. Suicide at sea is 15 times higher than the suicide rate for the UK population ashore, which is a direct quote from Dr. Graham Henderson, the chair of Together in Safety. And prior to any disaster or major incident, there will nearly always be information somewhere within an organisation that trouble is brewing, was a quote from Professor Andrew Hopkins following the Esso Longford gas explosion. With those 2 quotes in mind, I hope to demonstrate this morning that OK Positive can really benefit any organisation that takes it on board. So mitigating the risk of a major incident occurring on account of poor mental health or well-being, burnout due to stress and fatigue brought about by the pandemic and its restrictions, and critical information being overlooked or ignored. And there's also a very large chance for businesses to potentially lose future business due to poor safety performance attributed to declining mental well-being within the workforce. So with those challenges, I'd like to introduce you to OK Positive, which is a mobile platform and app that enhances the safety performance of a company by improving the mental wellness of its users and enhancing the strategic lines of communication within that business. The OK Positive app provides your people with all of the tools to proactively recognize and support their own mental health. What differentiates OK Positive from other mental wellness apps, however, is the functionality which enables your people to anonymously feed any information and concerns they have via the company dashboard. This empowers your business, giving you the ability to affect real change in real time. What we have here, unfortunately the video is not working, is the mood entry screen. So a user will be able to put in how they're feeling, followed by inputting text describing any concerns they have. Now, this is anonymous and aggregated, so a company gets real-time information from its personnel as to any ongoing concerns or warning signs prior to an incident occurring. That is fed into the back-end dashboard for the company, so they get a real snapshot of what's happening and they can act proactively to avoid a major incident or accidents from occurring. This will also reduce staff burnout and fatigue. They will see the safety and productivity levels increase. It will also demonstrate to your shareholders and your staff that your company is committed to its core values. It helps improve internal communication within the business, retain and recruit the best people, and there's a possibility of seeing up to a 500% return on investment. What's very critical to note, the company dashboard allows C-suite people and CEOs, if you like, to spot worrying trends and then immediately send out messages to the users. So people who feel that they don't have a voice within our industry suddenly are receiving messages from the CEO saying that they're aware of their concerns and are prepared to act on it. So using a case study of Pacific Basin, who are one of the major partners for this Captain's Table Challenge, our calculations show a minimum saving of over $4 million per year by engaging with OK Positive. Further details on how we have come up with these figures can be discussed at the Q&A session if required. The cost of OK Positive, well, with OK Positive, mitigating the risk of a major incident attributed to mental health will cost a business less than 50 US cents per user per day. Final thoughts. OK Positive finally empowers C-suite personnel with the ability to see and be seen everywhere within their organization in real time and make informed decisions based on anonymized and aggregated feedback data. By assembling information anonymously and moving it up the company hierarchy to where it can be understood and reacted to in a responsible manner, this can potentially avoid accidents and major incidents. Thank you very much. This concludes our presentation.
Thank you very much, David. Okay, over to questions, please. We've got 5 minutes for questions. If you want to maybe not show your slide anymore.
Yeah. Stop share. Yes.
There we go. Lovely. Questions, please.
Sorry, that's this is Nakul. I'm messing around with all sorts of reactions and getting totally confused here. I intended to raise my hand. David, thanks very much for the presentation. The space is getting increasingly competitive, and there's at least 2 others who are offering a very similar proposition to yourself. What do you see as your unique offering as such?
Thank you for the question. I'll be perfectly honest, I'm a health and safety consultant working in the industry, and I myself was in a particularly dark place 2 years ago needing support, and I couldn't find it. I did look at some of the other options that are out there in the marketplace, and quite frankly, I didn't think they were particularly suitable to our industry. They were quite generic, and they didn't really scratch the surface, in my opinion. I started working on my own product, which is still in development, but when I was introduced to Charlie and OK Positive, I immediately saw that this could be very, very beneficial for people in our industry, people like myself. So I suppose as a test subject, I chose OK Positive over the other alternatives, and I'm hopeful that other companies will do the same.
So is it so it sounds like it's sort of elements of the product that make you feel it's unique. Is it the interface or the actual user walkthrough experience? Could you tell me?
Yes, sadly, I wasn't able to show the videos that were attached to that slide because of Zoom limitations that were formatted for Teams. But yes, the user interface is very, very intuitive. It's very streamlined. But really, to answer your question, it's the newsfeed option that really has the power to affect change, because a company can see live data coming in from its users. So if we were to roll this out, say the daily toolbox talk on board a vessel or a rig, and people were to encourage to input how they're feeling, any safety concerns, for example, that people just don't feel that we're able to open up about, could be input anonymously. And then senior management can see this in real time and affect change. They can send out a message which is pushed to every mobile device saying, we are aware on this particular asset, we have this safety concern that people are perhaps afraid to talk about openly. We are dealing with the situation. And people in the industry who feel as if they don't have a voice, and that's an increasing number of people, especially in the last 2 years, suddenly feel empowered. My message is getting through to the CEO or that level of person within the company, and they're actually taking action. That's a very powerful tool, and that's what really made me, as somebody who works in the front line of the industry, stop and take note that this is what differentiates OK Positive from everything else I've seen on the market.
Yeah. Final question, if I could. Really dramatic number with Pac Basin and the 4 million savings. A lot of it tends to be opportunity cost. Is there any third-party validation towards that number other than sort of a Pac Basin saying, yes, we think we saved that because of an aversion of incident?
That number is actually very conservative, and that's based. That was based purely on a very modest calculation of attrition costs as a result of losing people due to various contributing factors. That number does not include the amount of money that could be increased or saved by increased productivity as a direct result of improved mental well-being, which is between 12 and 20%. So if Pacific Basin were able to tell me what 20% increased productivity would equate to financially, that would be great. And furthermore, that number does not include the amount of money that can be lost as a direct result of a major accident or incident, God forbid a fatality, and how much that costs the company in terms of commercial revenue lost. So really that 4 million, it looks quite significant, but that's just the tip of the iceberg for that.
Sure, but you haven't got any links with insurance, relation to premiums, tangible savings, etc. Because a lot of this is opportunity cost, really.
Absolutely, yes. We haven't got those figures to hand, but we have been in discussions with insurance brokers and whatnot, and how much the saving can be achieved. But we're compiling those figures for our final pitch on the 2nd of December.
Okay, thanks very much.
Welcome again.
Thanks. We've probably got time for one final question. Okay, David, thank you very much for the time. Let's move forward. Rodian, over to you and iGauge, please.
Right, can you see my screen?
Yep, just come through now.
Sorry, I have some bugs here on my screen. So sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah, because I have windows opening all over the place. Right. Good day, everyone. It's a pleasure to see several familiar faces here. My name is Rodian, and I'm CEO of a startup called iGauge. At iGauge, we say that any ship can become smart, and we know how to make it happen. And our first clients, in fact, can prove that. My professional background is in software development, and for many years I was working with technologies such as big data and machine learning before they even got those fancy names. But I also come from a family of marine engineers, and I always had an exposure to this industry where I believe it is time to apply those technologies. Let's look at the challenges faced by major players of this industry. Ship operators need to make sure that their ship arrives to the port on time and consumes as little fuel as possible. Ship owners on the other side need to maintain their ship in order to reduce downtime. They're also responsible nowadays for reduction and reporting of CO2 emissions. Safety of the crew and of the ship is also on their top list. Nowadays, we know how to address and optimize those issues with data. Well, at least this is how it's being done in other industries. Yes, but we also know that we are not there yet. Something is missing. When we talk to industry players, they said that on 85% of the ships, onboard machinery and equipment is not digitalized. It is not smart. It generates no data. And it's not only about old ships. We often see manufacturers of modern equipment hiding the data. In the end, this equipment must be monitored manually. And manually collected data is often inaccurate and averaged over time. It is very difficult to work with. So ship digitalization is a big challenge right now. Before all those data-driven technologies can be applied, we need to digitalize the ships themselves. Therefore, iGauge created a simple, cost-efficient solution for digitalization of existing ship machinery and equipment of any age and any manufacturer. It collects high-quality and high-frequency telemetry from all analog and digital onboard equipment in a non-invasive way and delivers this data to fleet manager's screen on the shore, where it is combined with other sources of data for decision-making in fleet operations. How does it work? In fact, for data collection, we use the same approach as it is done by humans using their eyes. In fact, our clients like to describe our solution as an OCR for equipment. In a similar way as traditional OCR reads printed documents and transforms them into digital form, we use cameras and screen capture devices powered by artificial intelligence to read visual instruments, gauges, dashboards, and screens, and transforms those readings into the data. Our cameras can be placed anywhere, on the bridge, engine room, control room, any place where you have existing visual instruments. As we often see situations when modern equipment manufacturers are hiding data or charging extraordinary prices for data interfaces. But we can still get all this telemetry non-invasively with our smart screen capture devices. This way, we capture fuel consumption, main and auxiliary engines performance and condition. We can monitor different alarms, cargo, and tanks with nothing left outside of the scope. Our offer is a turnkey digital twin solution that consists of a hardware powered by artificial intelligence on board, coupled with a cloud or on-premise visualization and analytics platform on the shore. This is a subscription-based offer with fixed installation price and recurring monthly fee with optional customization and integration services. But why digitalization? Because data is tangible nowadays, and we can already try to quantify the benefits. We can reduce fuel consumption and emissions by at least 5% by detecting hull fouling, for example. We can lower vessel downtime by reducing maintenance cost and workload on the crew at the same time. If we take an example of Panamax bulk carrier, the total savings, just thanks to the data, would be at least $270,000 per ship per year. This number can already give us first estimation of a total market size for data-driven solutions of $15 billion per year. Having studied different eligibility criteria for our solution, including but not limited the vessel age, type, and operating model, we estimate that the deployment potential of our solution is around 33% of the world merchant fleet. And this figure can be translated into $5 billion of serviceable market. But right now, we position ourselves on data collection, followed by performance analytics and compliance offers, giving us a target size of $2 billion per year. The first prototype of our technology was developed 2 years ago, and now our solution is already deployed on 6 ships, and we have 4 more in our pipeline. These are vessels of different types, sizes, and ages. We have our first customers, MC Shipping from Mitsubishi Group and Saudi Aramco Offshore. Who we are? We are a team of dedicated founders with complementary skill and backgrounds. I'm Rodion. I've been working in software industry for 20 years, but as I mentioned, I have strong roots in shipping. Victoria, our CTO, is a data scientist and engineer with entrepreneurship experience. And Anton, our business developer, has a great experience, sales experience, working in different parts of the world, in different industries, including maritime. So we will be very happy to see you on board as a customer, as a partner, or as an investor, because right now we are doing our seed round. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Rodion, thank you very much. And just as I sent you the message saying 30 seconds to close, so thank you. Let me open up the floor to questions.
So it was so bad, so no questions.
Also good, depending on which way you look at it, right?
Okay, hi, Gautam Chalaram. Thank you. That was a great presentation. So my question is on, what if something, it's about, collecting data or using hardware information and putting it into software. Is that right? Using the existing systems on board a vessel and then collating it all together. So the thing is, what happens during this digitization process? Something happens to the software whilst the vessel is at sea. And how difficult is it then to sort of manually go back to the working system on board the vessel?
Okay, so this is a non-invasive solution. As you saw, we do not touch the actual equipment. All the processing happens on board of a ship. So it is autonomous system. What goes outside is just telemetry, just the data. The installation is done by the crew because you see, it's simple. It's about cameras, right? And so it can be fixed very fast.
Thank
Does it
you.
answer the question?
Yes, yes, it does.
So to elaborate, also the consumption of the traffic is very low. So it can work not only over VSAT, but in Marsat FBB as well, it's because we only send out the data.
Thank you. Other questions, please?
Oh, so thank you very much. Feel free to contact us, to reach out to us. We'll be ready to give you a more full presentation because we only had 5 minutes.
Sorry, Rodian, there is one question in the chat that was sent to me directly. It says, yours seems a SaaS play. Are your monthly fees too low?
Yeah, because we have different offers, right? So we start with a data collection offer that is, yes, it is low, right? But then we build analytics on top, so we can build a more complex pricing structure. So the data collection is 150, yes, low. But then by adding analytics offers on performance, on condition monitoring, we have use case, on emission reporting, on non-report generation. So we have features that can be added on top of this data that we collect with a basic offer.
Thank you, Rodian. Okay,
I think
There's a raised hand in the audience.
Chris, Willem had the hand up.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
hi, this is Yannis Stefano from Willem. Just a quick one. Can your system get data and give it to another system? Let's say someone has already installed the system and we just don't want to do any more manual entries.
Yes, exactly. And this is one of the use cases we do, and we call it fill the gap solution. So we help companies to integrate their diverse fleets, for example, modern fleet ships and more legacy one. We can integrate either on board of a ship if you have a data collection device, or we can integrate in the cloud if you give us an API endpoint. Definitely, this is something that we already do.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Rodian. Let's move on, please. Jeff, I believe you're taking the seat with SE.
It helps when you unmute yourself. It sure does. Yes, I am. And when we get to the Q&A, if there are any questions that are of a technical nature, I'll bring Larry in to join us for that.
Very good.
So let me go ahead and share my screen and bring up the presentation. And let's get rolling. Hey, thanks very much. It's an honor to have the opportunity to present to you all. I got that we've got a very global audience, and I'm really appreciative of the time. Someone needs to mute. We're hearing some feedback. So Steel Environmental is a product that solves an enormous problem. And I was talking to my partner Larry earlier today, and I realized as a kid growing up in Los Angeles, how many days there were that we could not play sports because of smog alerts. Southern California is probably one of the hotbeds of emissions problems in the world. And because of that, we've been very attuned to it. So what we've done is when we noticed all of the activity by the IMO in today's market to reduce emissions, we took a serious look at how that could be addressed. And we've got a proven technology that's available today. At the COP26 meeting that was recently completed, the International Chamber of Shipping made a really powerful statement that by 2050, only about a third of the fleet is going to be running zero carbon fuels. So fossil fuels are here to stay. They're here and they're going to be here for quite some time. But the requirements of the IMO are to reduce the GHG emissions by 70% of 2008 levels by 2050. So there's a huge gap to cross. And our product helps to do that today. Our product, the advanced diesel formula, is a catalyst that will lower emissions. It reduces the net fuel cost and extends the engine life. So when I say reduces the net fuel cost, our product actually increases fuel efficiency between 5 and 13%, and that's based on the number of third-party tests and validations that our product's been through. We've also experienced in those validations reductions of CO2 and NOx up to 20% and particulate matter up to 50%. If we were selling our product today to every ship on the ocean, our annual sales would be $15 billion. So as you can see, the market in maritime is enormous. Right now, we do have some traction, and we've got several companies that we're working with that have strong interest in validation testing of our product. One of them, in fact, is in the process of obtaining funding for an on-land validation test themselves. One of the things that makes our product unique is that not only does it reduce the fuel cost, but by burning the fuel more completely, and with the detergents that we've got in the product, you can see this is the same exact injector before use and after use. And on the right, you actually can see all of the spray holes in the injector. You even can see the serial number of the injector, and on the left, you can't, because after time, our product makes the ship more maintainable. There is some competition in this space, and what we've noticed in that is that not only does Steel Environmental's product provide fuel stability and engine lubricity, but we also provide fuel savings and emission reduction. And that's not something that others can say they can do with just one product. Several years ago, MAN evaluated our product and said that they have no objection to its use within the engine that we were looking at, or any other MAN engine at the time as well. We talk about our executive team. Larry and I are the two key members of it. Brian is our chemist and tribologist. And we have a great advisory team as well. Our team is very experienced at running businesses and growing them internationally. In addition to that, we've got government and political connections as well that make a difference for us. So what we're looking for in our seed round is $500,000, which mostly will be used for the validation testing. But the one area we really want to round out is to identify a strategic investor with experience in maritime to help us build out the maritime business. So with all that in mind, we invite you to help us fight global warming. I'm open to any of your questions and would be happy to take them now.
Thanks, Jeff. Couldn't find the mute button. Thank you very much. Questions, please.
If you have a more complete burning, isn't that at a higher temperature and therefore creating higher NOx in the end?
So that's a great question. I'm going to invite Larry to unmute because he's my technical guy and can probably do a better job answering that. Larry?
Actually, that's a great question, but what we found by experience is just the opposite, is by getting a more complete and efficient burn, because we're converting more energy to work, that we actually reduce the emissions. And we've proven this in several tests. So, and we actually, the engine temperature is actually lowered as well because it's a more efficient burn.
Hi, this is Nakul here. I just wanted to sort of understand a little bit. From what I understood, it's essentially it's a fuel additive. Is that right?
We call it a catalyst because it doesn't require some of the manual effort like mixing in that additives do. Once it's in, it molecularly bonds with the fuel.
Yeah.
Sure, but the actual process of getting it into the bunkers, is that a pour process or a flow-through process?
Larry, would you like to explain that?
Yeah. Right now, in conjunction with the one shipping company that we're in discussions, they plan on doing this at the port. Their intent is to take complete charge of that, the ship taking complete charge of that, and add it during bunkering operations from the ship to the ship tanks.
Okay, so it's essentially a liquid additive that's coming through there. So the question then that if you could help me out here is, are you manufacturing the chemistry yourselves, or essentially are you blending a number of different constituents, and do you have any IP around the chemistry?
That's a great question. So in answer to that, our product is a trade secret, and it's been around for about 20 years. It was introduced originally to the U.S. Department of Defense and is used in primarily land vehicles today. And it is in some ships as well, generally the smaller ones. The manufacturer that makes this is our chemist. And so he's kept this this formula a secret, and he guards it very closely. So what we found is others have tried to replicate it and have not done that successfully.
Okay, so the recipe as such is essentially the trade secret, but there's no IP around the molecule.
Correct, correct.
Right. And final question, you mentioned most of it is used in land vehicles and some vessels, and it sounds, as you've described it, it sounds very much applicable to essentially high-speed diesels, marine gas oils, and that grade of fuels. Have you tested it on a wider variety?
So we're in the process of running the product through with HFO and VLSFO, and we've already had 2 rounds of testing on those fuels, and our product combines with them without separation.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
And it still meets the fuel spec, which is more important after adding it.
Yeah.
It's the EN 590, or which fuel spec?
It's very early in the morning here. The standard fuel spec that
the ASTM spec, and I forgot the number of it, but we can get that for you.
Yeah. There's a standard fuel spec that we have to meet for each grade of fuel, and we have had it tested, and it still meets spec after adding.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have, I think we may have answered the question, Jeff in the window, what is the catalyst made of? What is the feedstock?
All of the chemicals that are in the formula are proprietary. We do have a safety data sheet that we do share with clients, and it does list a couple of the major components, but we do that under non-disclosure.
Okay, very good. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll move on. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Nigel, I believe you're Solex today.
Can everyone see my presentation?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great.
And anyway, yeah.
Okay, good evening and good morning, everyone. My name is Nigel Ko, and I am the CEO of Solex. So Solex is a behavioral-based safety company centered on human factors. And our goal and mission is to improve safety outcomes, enhancing operational excellence, and raising crew well-being standards. And our management team is a deep and experienced one, and we're represented by the companies on the left-hand side on the slide. So safety continues to be a challenge in the industry today. A staggering statistic that you may not know of is that 66% of all maritime incidents and casualties are caused by human factors. And if you drill down into it, the top 2 reasons for these incidents are the control of work and crew well-being. So when you think about the control of work, there are really safety processes that are regulated. Today, these processes and work are all very manual, highly administrative, and they lack the assurance of compliance that the shore and the top 4 are looking for. On the well-being side, crew fatigue and poor workload management is oftentimes top of mind when it comes to improving crew well-being. And this is compounded by the ineffective wellness programs that we have today, which are very reactive, and the lack of crew situational awareness on the vessel, which leads to many types of injury incidents from happening. So SafeView AI is our flagship product. It's a holistic platform that enhances the control of work and improves crew well-being. We have two modules. The first module is the SafeView AI control of work. Basically, there are three capabilities here. It's an integrated control of work software system. So think about all your permits to work, risk assessments, and safety checklists, all now integrated into a step-by-step workflow system. To put it simply, we are the DocuSign of safety workflow forms and processes. The second capability and the control of work is now you have the ability to have real-time visibility to your crew location, to all the ongoing high-hazard jobs that are currently on the vessel, pending approval or actually ongoing. And because of all of this information that we have, we can now give you context-based compliance assurance. So having the right person at the right place, doing the right job at the right time is no longer a dream and a readout, but now a reality. The second module is our Crew Protect module, enabled by our intrinsically safe smartwatch. Here, we are solving for two big use cases. The first is the crew health and fatigue. So we believe that fatigue is contributed by a number of different elements. So we are actually solving for the primary ones. Our near real-time workload management capability allows the seafarer to record their actual work hours in real time, for that information to flow to the planner or to the master in real time, and for then the master to actually see that and do better workload management for today, tomorrow, or even the next 7 days. And so this feature is also in compliance with the MLC 2006 standards. Along with that, we also have features to solve for heat stress management, heart rate measurements, as well as fitness tracking. The second element is improving crew situational awareness. The big, very, very useful capability here is what we call Geo Fencing. We now can create virtual barriers in different zones on the vessel to actually alert any seafarer that enters into that zone when high hazard job is going on. So this capability is very, very powerful, and it improves and solves for crew situational awareness. When you think about all this, this is all now in data and in digital format, and we can now provide leading indicators to prevent accidents from happening. So we install SafeView as a turnkey solution. We install a local Wi-Fi network. We deploy our software on the devices, on the tablet and the dashboard, and also on the desktop for the shore teams to close the loop on the workflows. And we equip each seafarer with a smartwatch to improve situational awareness and crew well-being. So for the customer, what do you get? Over $125,000 in tangible savings per vessel per year. How do we do this? Number one, through operational excellence, improving productivity, over 4,600 man-hours saved per vessel per year. Improve safety and compliance by just avoiding one injury incident. That's about $31,000 in out-of-pocket cost savings. On the crew welfare side, a medical incident, the savings for an out-of-pocket cost is also about $31,000. All in all, when you think about business competitiveness, we improve safety rating scores, we lower your cost to serve, and we improve crew sustainability. So to wrap it up, we have seen a lot of good traction in the market today. And so we're happy now to share this solution to you all. And I'm happy to take any questions that you may have. Thank you very much.
Nigel, thank you very much. Open to questions, please.
Hi, Nigel. Gautam Chalaram here. Thank you for the presentation. My question is that will the watches work? You know, what happens on board the vessel if there are areas where the Wi-Fi doesn't work? So, for example, it can be on the bridge, or someone can be in the main engine, and because of all the steel, etc., sometimes the Wi-Fi may disconnect. So what happens in situations whereby you lose the connection?
Yeah, so there are two kind of capabilities that we First, our watch runs on very low bandwidth. And so when we come across any low connectivity areas, the information that is passed back to the watch or to the server on the vessel, we don't see a lot of that issue. The second thing is our watch also have what we call an offline mode capability. So whenever you, let's say, lose connectivity, when you go back to an area of connectivity, then it automatically syncs the data back to kind of the server and to the dashboards, so forth and so on. So there are two capabilities that we address. When it comes to location of the seafarer, if we don't have real-time online capabilities, our dashboard and our technology also shows the last seen location of the seafarer.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Kunal, excuse me, Kunal, raising your hand.
Thank you, Nigel. Just a quick question. You mentioned the watch that is being worn by the seafarers, and you also mentioned the last seen location. Now, if the seafarer were to remove the watch for whatever reason, does that alert anybody on board, or does it document that the watch has been removed from the wrist? Because the reason why I ask is, so I'm from the Transport Safety Investigation Bureau in Singapore, and we have a lot of missing at sea cases reported to us. And one of the areas that we've always looked at is how does one know when somebody decided to take a drastic step? And I'm not saying that they've always done that. We don't have any evidence to prove so. But having such a proposition is certainly helpful. But what is the backup in case you need to identify whether indeed the individual willfully removed the watch for the fear of being detected or going out of the zone or wherever?
Yeah.
Not sure if that can be answered yet. Thanks.
Thanks for the question. So I think the way we look at this is more of a philosophical approach. When it comes to safety culture in the vessel, what we tell the seafarers is that a lot of features that we're building for on the watch and on the system is for the seafarer. So we provide them with all the benefits to help safeguard them from injuries or medical incidents. So that's how we start off. And when we work with customers and our clients, we go with that mindset to help improve change. Of course, there are ways to also certainly identify when a seafarer isn't wearing the watch. We can measure the heart rate, and as soon as the watch stops reading heart rate, we can certainly notify the relevant authorities. But again, in this case, we are being very careful because we don't want to develop a system that starts off as a big brother system. We're starting from the bottoms up as the seafarer and wanting to change the safety culture and wanting the seafarers to kind of take ownership of their health as opposed to having management push this top down.
Okay, any final, conscious of time, ladies and gentlemen, we can have one final question for Nigel.
Nigel, hi. I wanted to ask you a question. How do you enable this connectivity on board the vessel? Like, how do you make this watch work all over the vessel? Particularly taking into consideration the Faraday cage problem, which is quite common in the maritime industry.
Yeah, so what we've done, we've deployed this in over 20 vessels already. So what we've done is we've actually installed a local Wi-Fi network strategically in certain locations on the vessel. So we have basically developed a blueprint where we are able to cover about 90% of the ship or the vessel. So that's one thing we've done. Yeah, sometimes you get a bit of connectivity issues given bouncing of the signals in the steel structure, but we haven't seen a lot of that, given that our system, we've optimized the system for the bandwidth on the vessel, and two, for all our devices, we have developed, as I mentioned, the offline mode capability. So to be able to continue to have people continue their work without disruption, and as soon as they get back onto an area of good connectivity, the system just auto syncs.
Okay, thanks. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you very much. Okay, Nigel, thank you very much. Let me ask Ronnie to take the stage, please, from Dan Compliance.
Yes, I am almost ready. Let me just get my presentation up and running. And I just need to share with everybody. Just hang on. And there we go. And I just need to move this. And so I am good to go.
Yep,
so
you're good to go.
Good. My name is Ronnie Palmquist. I'm the founder of DEN Compliance. DEN Compliance, let me just move this one for a second, like that. DEN Compliance help maritime companies to stay updated with the rules and regulations that applies for their ship, their product, and their services, thus saving time, minimizing risk, and helps to stay updated. So why is that important and what is the challenge here? As many of you may know, there are increasing regulatory requirements in the maritime business due to more environmental concerns, safety. We talked a lot about safety. So all the major classification societies are revising the rules every year. IMO are passing new circulars and resolution and so on. You would see the regular picture around the world of these increasing regulations. And why is that a problem? The increasing regulation increases the risk of non-compliance with the legislation. It can also lead to reputational damage, loss of profit, recall of products, and penalties, and so on. And everybody wants to avoid that if possible. And how can we help with that? We have developed a marine regulation, which is a web portal with all the rules and regulation that the companies in the maritime business need to have access for. This is much more than just a database of document. There are advanced search and filter functions. There are reports. You can have your own list of documents. You can see which legislation is coming up in the future. You can even receive notifications when there are changes to relevant rules for your service and your business. And of course, it's also possible to keep documents offline, which is extremely important on board ships, which is why we recently launched this feature. So marine regulations is also the most comprehensive collection on maritime regulatory documents. It's kept up to date on a weekly basis, and is the only kind of one-stop shop out there that have all the IMO Code and Convention, EU documents, Classification Society documents, UN documents, more than 40 flags and still counting. So it's a huge collection of documents. And how does the market look like? Yeah, we sell this to equipment manufacturers, ship owners, flag states, consultants, surveyors, universities, shipbuilders, classification societies, and so on. So this is who is relevant for everybody that need to keep up to date with rules and regulations in the maritime business. If we look at the kind of the competitive landscape out there, what we are competing with are old solutions, search engines, ebook readers, and old software and web portals. So we do have something that really makes a difference in the market here. If we look at the size of the market, 100,000 plus customers, average price of £3,500, market size roughly 400 million British pounds. We have a growing customer base. We have more than 1,000 users now. You can see some of our top references here. We do have a big distributor in NAFTA that is a supplier of navigational software. Finally, we have the team here. We are located around the world. We are truly an international company in Toronto, Cambridge, Harlow, and Zagreb. I'm the director, but we also have a technology support, sales, and content management team. So finally, to conclude, we do think we have something really unique here. We have placed ourselves in a good place in the market. We have evidence by a lot of companies signing up, and we see us being in front of all the competitors and want to keep on doing that. Thank you. Questions?
Ronnie, I'm gonna ask a favor if I may. I'm conscious of time and I want to make sure everybody gets the opportunity to do their pitch. So if we could hold questions and allow Matthew to go, and then we'll bring back questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay, but I was spot on time, right?
You were spot on time. In fact, you were under, so nice.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm cheated for questions, but okay, I can live with that.
We'll
no
come
problem.
back, don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay.
So everybody, as a kind gesture to Matthew, who has to disappear, Matthew, if I can ask you to come to the stage, please.
Yes, hi. Thanks, Nigel. So hi, everyone. I'm Mathieu Carlier, CEO and founder of Ever Impact. So Ever Impact is a IoT solution to automatically track, report, and monetize your carbon emissions. So as you know, decarbonizing shipping is becoming a huge problem. It's a huge pain point in the industry. And basically, it's coming from three key drivers. First, the regulations are coming into force with IMO and EU MRV and so on. So the regulatory framework is putting a lot of pressure on reducing carbon emissions up to 40% in the next 7-8 years, which is very challenging. At the same time, we see cargo owners and consumers that want to understand the carbon footprint of the vessels and all the supply chain to basically be able to stay competitive and keep selling their products. And then we also see investors and the finance world that are also asking for cleaner transportation mode and are also putting a lot of pressure in the financing of new ships. So what we see is that this is putting also a lot of pressure and is moving the way we track carbon emissions in the shipping industry. At the moment, we rely on the estimated data from the fuel consumption to calculate the carbon footprint of a vessel. And it is really much like opening the window of your car and putting your head outside to try to estimate the speed of your vehicle. What we see is that the regulatory pressure but also the pressure from consumers and customers to have real-time data is really moving the tracking of CO2 emissions into what we call continuous emissions monitoring, basically putting a sensor in the exhaust stack. And as we shift towards this way of measuring carbon emissions, it is becoming important to leverage this as an asset and not just be lagging behind in terms of reporting and tracking emissions, because this is something that is going to cost a lot to the shipping companies. Recently, Maersk has made a proposal of a carbon tax that is going to basically almost double up the price of fuel. So there is a big challenge here ahead and a lot of investments to be made by shipping companies. So our solution is really the one-stop shop software to track and monetize your carbon reductions. First, we make the carbon footprint of a vessel or a port. We help find reduction into the data and make recommendations to customers on how they can reduce their carbon footprint, including connecting with the other ecosystem partners on board the vessels that can help reduce emissions from fuel, for example. And then we trade the carbon emissions either to sell CO2 reductions or to buy carbon offsets. So our solution to monitor continuously is pretty simple and non-intrusive. We place a sensor in the exhaust stack, like you can see here on the picture. And then it communicates the data back to shore into an analytics software platform where we provide our customers with a dashboard of their carbon emissions in real time. allowing them to report and to certify and comply with the industry standards and the future standards coming up, but also to generate revenues from selling carbon offsets. I'm going to show you a bit about that now. So the benefits of continuous monitoring are clear, and moving from fuel estimates gives you actually savings. So you can actually automate the carbon footprint work and save about 100,000 euros per year per ship, avoided from having people gather the data manually. We can also, at the moment, we estimate that we can make up to $40,000 per voyage in carbon offsets saved or sold on the markets, meaning that we're increasing the return on investment per vessel. Of course, in the future, we can see this is going to help increase your sales and remain competitive compared to competitors, because customers are really looking for this type of information in real time, and lower your fees of entry into ports. We see a lot of ports in Europe that are putting taxes and fines for vessels that are basically polluting and that are not really reporting well their emissions. So we have cracked this challenge before in other industries. We actually come from the smart city market initially, and we've deployed in 10 European cities, including in the city of Dijon, where we deploy 80 sensors in the whole city and help them generate 4 million euros in revenues. Our system is deployed in the UK cities with British Telecom, including the street furniture. And we're coming to shipping with Wilhelmsen into pilot projects. And we also in pilots with Shell Marine. And we started with the first port pilot in Duisport in Germany. And we're also penetrating the oil and gas industry at the moment with a collaboration with Shell. So we are about to test the first 3 vessels together with our close partners Wilhelmsen that are looking to distribute their impact to the shipping industry on 3 Mitsubishi vessels. And we're also receiving investments and commitments from the shipping industry from VCs like Motion Venture. So I'll just keep a little bit conscious of time. The team has experience scaling organizations in the United Nations and in sustainability, where we were former CEOs of agencies, and we're surrounded by execs from Google, NASA, or British Petroleum. We've been winning several awards and been acknowledged for our work in different industries. And we're now looking forward to come more aggressively into the shipping industry. And we are at the moment raising 2 million euros with 1.7 million committed from investors such as the French government, the French state investment arm, shipping VCs represented by companies like Wilhelmsen, Mol Group, and so on, the Asian Development Bank, and the Google SDG Seed Fund. Previous investors include the European Commission Climate Kick. So we're looking still for investors and partners in the ecosystem, so feel free to reach out to us. Thank you for your time.
Matthew, thank you. Matthew, just to be clear, I believe you've got to drop off now. Is that correct? So if we capture some questions and share those with you later and then give you the opportunity to respond?
Yes, and apologies for that. Sorry for the inconvenience. Yeah, I really, I'm late already. I have to drop off, unfortunately.
Okay, no problem at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, if you have got any questions for Matthew, please, if you could maybe email them to Suyin, Tabitha, or I, and then we can share them with Matthew, and then he can respond accordingly. Okay, Ronnie, I'm going to bring you back into the fray, if that's all right. There's been some questions starting to move around in the chat. So, Ronnie, if you would like to turn your video back on for us.
I already done that.
Fantastic. Let me spotlight you. Okay, so let's. Thanks. I don't know if you've started to look at the questions, but let me run through them. Can the rules and regulations be, firstly, thank you again for sort of switching around a little bit. Can the rules and regulations be drilled down to by vessel type, age, and flag?
Some of it, yes. All the content is customized, so each vessel can get access to the flag and the specific documents they need. The ship type and size and age will be coming next year. We are working on some AI filters for that, so that's coming in 2022.
Okay, very good, thank you. The next question was, do you provide an interpretation of the rules and regulations for the seafarers?
Coming 2022, we've started a project where we now also make a news platform. That news will be available in marine regulations, providing interpretations of rules and regulations, because it actually have been requested from a lot of our current customers and others.
Okay, and so to be clear, that's coming in 2022.
Yeah, we will launch it probably early 2022, okay. But it is under development.
Okay, thank you. Next one, can companies add or upload their own policies and procedural rules?
Yes, when we talk about ships or other users in the system, there are company accounts. They manage all the ships. They can change ships, they can change users, but they can also add documents, share them with specific ships or the whole fleet. And they have, let's say, a private company folder where they can share instructions, own procedures, and so on. So yes.
Great, thank you. And the final one in the window then is, how far back do you keep past versions of classification, society rules? Sorry, I've lost that. As ships' different milestones decide which rule and what version it will apply.
Yeah, we only make the current rules available. The rest we have outdated on our servers, and on special request, we make the outdated documents available. And they, depending from which organization we talk about, they go quite far back. Some of them only a few years.
Okay, okay, thank you. More questions coming in. Ronnie, are all these in English language, or are they also other language versions, Chinese, Japanese, etc.?
We got all languages in there: Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Spanish, Portuguese, France, Greek. All the Greek legislation is in Greek as well. So yeah, all kind of legislation are included.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's the questions in the chat. Let me open to the floor to any additional questions.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think we're getting to end of the day on a Friday in Asia. So.
Yeah, but at least there were some questions in the chat.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Tabitha, in which case, Ronnie, thank you. Tabitha, let me hand to you to bring things to a close for today.
Sure. All right. Thanks so much, Chris, and thank you again to our startups for pitching today. It's not an easy thing to do, especially live. So we appreciate all your preparations in advance, and we really appreciate everyone who's taken the time, as I said, on a Friday afternoon to join our session. It's been really helpful for them, it's been helpful for us, and I hope it's been informative to you. Just again to repeat that, obviously the live final will be on Thursday, the 2nd of December, and we'll be sending those of you in Hong Kong, obviously, an invitation to attend in person, and then those of you overseas, the web link. And if you have any questions about the startups, or you'd like to be put in direct contact with any of them, please do reach out to Cian, Chris, or myself. And I think from our side, it just remains for us to wish you have a very nice weekend. And yeah, Cian, anything else you need to add before we sign off?
No, you've about summed it up. I think the last batch of people I'd like to thank are the startups for taking time out to attend today's pitch and for putting their best foot forward today. Again, just repeat, if you have any questions, do just email us and we'll endeavor to answer them.
All the best. We would just ask if everyone could sign off except the startups that are still on the call. We'd just like to have a quick chat with you after everyone leaves. So many thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
We'll also send the recording of this later on.